But the fact that the ratings from Caitlin Clark's series to these series fell off a cliff, it should surprise no one.
I'm watching the Indiana Fever game. I'm just waiting on Caitlin Clark to catch the basketball.
Io Wilson has gone off about the major decline in WNBA viewership ever since Caitlin Clark was eliminated from the playoffs.
I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try to be the best. I get y'all saying best player in the world. That's great. It looks great. But I want to be the best person. I want to be the best teammate.
In an interview, Wilson said this year more fans than ever have called her game boring. She brushed it off. But with Clark out, Wilson finally got what she wanted, more freedom and less fan noise. The problem is, when the Fever were eliminated, nobody cared about the playoffs anymore.
Just say the ratings aren't the same with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever now eliminated. Game 1 of the Aces Liberty matchup on Sunday drew an average of 929,000 viewers. Was down nearly 50% from last Sunday's Fever Sun contest. By the way, not only was viewership down, but attendance was as well.
Caitlin Clark's effect has been obvious. Game after game, the viewership kept dropping while she sat home watching unfold. She's probably laughing at this disaster, because the league could have had record-breaking finals. But instead, they lost it all.
All I gotta say is she's lucky this UConn team isn't healthy. And that's a true statement.
That's wrong, Molly.
Monica?
That's wrong, Molly. Molly,
like
it's excuses.
5 top players,
it's excuses,
am I right?
Molly. It's excuses.
Major injuries.
You would not be saying that if it wasn't UConn.
Major stars not playing.
Listen,
excuse me,
go. It's her against Caitlin Clark.
Stephen A.
Ain't no excuses.
Stephen
you
A.
got there.
Wait a minute.
Don't want to hear that now.
Stephen A.
Let me tell you, if
Paige
Georgetown get back in the mix, I'm going to be insufferable. I'm just telling you that now.
What?
If Paige Beckers didn't basically miss 2 seasons, I don't know if we'd be talking about Caitlin Clark the way we are.
Now the finals are set. New York versus Minnesota. Honestly, I couldn't even name one player on those teams. The matchup is expected to deliver the lowest ratings of the entire playoffs. How does the WNBA even allow this to happen?
The reason 12 million people are watching ESPN for a game, if that game was on CBS, they probably would have had 25, 30 million people watching that game.
The WNBA looks completely lost without Caitlin Clark. For months, they denied the Caitlin effect and insisted it wasn't real. But now they're forced to admit it. Without her, the league has gone back to being unwatchable.
We're not going to be seeing Caitlin Clark play basketball again for another 200 days. An ESPN reporter said at the end of the Indiana Fever Connecticut Sun Game 2 that Caitlin Clark almost definitely will not be playing basketball this offseason. So no overseas and no 3-on-3 unrivaled.
Io Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces were dominant all season long, entering the playoffs as one of the clear favorites. But the New York Liberty, led by their stars, stunned everyone in the semifinals and knocked them out. Losing the Aces not only ended a title run, but also removed one of the league's biggest names, which made the playoffs even less exciting for fans.
Caitlin Clark's the most valuable, most important person in the WNBA this year, and should have been unanimous rookie.
Caitlin Clark is a player who demands attention. Her game is electrifying, and she can take over at any moment, which makes her one of the most thrilling athletes in the WNBA. But when the Fever were eliminated by the Connecticut Sun, all of that excitement vanished. The playoffs instantly felt less intense, less fun, and far less watchable.
Disrespectful, but they talked a lot of trash and they got humbled. And I think that that's okay. That is sports. That is what we live for in sports.
Losing Caitlin Clark wasn't just losing a star. It was losing the entire experience she brought. Her talent, energy, and charisma made the games feel alive, even for casual fans. When she was eliminated, that magic disappeared, leaving behind playoffs that felt flat, empty, and uninspiring.
And to act like there isn't or hasn't been legitimate resentment emanating from those who are pioneers. Nobody's fooled here. You got pundits who used to play in the WNBA, some of them who didn't, and who were speaking on behalf of those who didn't want to create that kind of noise themselves because of the negative impact. We talk about it when the men do it. If we detect jealousy, if we detect envy, if we detect resentment, and it's amongst the fellas, we put it out there. Shit, we act like it's the latest episode of General Hospital. But when the ladies are feeling that way about another young lady like Caitlin Clark, and people like myself and Shay Shay call it out, suddenly it's a problem.
After Clark's exit, the WNBA saw one of the sharpest drops in ratings in its history. The decline wasn't slow, it was immediate. That's how much a draw she is. Without her, Fans lost interest overnight, and the league's biggest growth opportunities slipped away.
Since, Angel Reese had that injury to me, and also coming off of Olympic break, Caitlin Clark separated herself. Yeah. She should have been unanimous. Now to celebrate her, one thing that people forget is as a rookie, she was the most blitzed player in the WNBA, and she still put up 19, 5, and 8 assists.
When Clark was eliminated, the playoffs instantly lost their main draw. Fans have been watching just for her journey, and once it ended, so did their interest. Other players couldn't match her star power, and the WNBA lost a massive part of its audience.
Impressive for Caitlin to win Rookie of the Year in a dominant fashion when it is going to be one of the great rookie classes in the history.
Caitlin Clark is more than one of the best players in the WNBA. She's the face of the league. Her game, her energy, and her big moments make her must-watch TV. But when the Fever were knocked out by Connecticut, the playoffs collapsed. Fans weren't just sad to see her team go. They lost the one player who made the postseason exciting.
The Fever on a great season. I don't think anybody expected them to make the playoffs after starting 1-8. They had a tremendous second half of the season. That Olympic break was much needed. But Caitlin Clark, she just completely changed around the WNBA culture, and she completely changed around the Indiana Fever's culture for the future. And the future is bright for the Indiana Fever. And I'm so happy that, Caitlin Clark came into the WNBA light, and fans get to actually watch her and see.
The ratings crash after Clark and Wilson's exits was devastating. The WNBA had been building momentum, but all came to a screeching halt. The league lost nearly half its audience once those stars were out, exposing how much the game depends on its biggest names to stay relevant.
It's really consumed my life for a year, so I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened. Like, I feel like I didn't even have time to really reflect on my college career because it ended so fast. I feel like taking some time to myself and really enjoying that and reflect.
The WNBA finals are supposed to be the most anticipated stage of the year, but this time, without Caitlin Clark, the hype is gone. What should have been a blockbuster showdown has turned into one of the least exciting finals in league history. The ratings are expected to hit rock bottom.
Went from being one of the most loved teams in the WNBA to being riddled with so much drama this season. Asia Wilson was under fire last week for the privileged comment that she made to Kelsey Plum. And Coach Becky Hammon was under fire for basically saying that her team was too busy being celebrities and they were distracted, and that's why they're not winning games. The list goes on and on. If you're this Aces team, you really need to regroup and maybe make some tough decisions about the future of the team.
In a short time, Caitlin Clark has done more for the WNBA than many players in their entire careers. She's brought in new fans, boosted coverage, and energized the league like no one else. But despite all this, she hasn't always been treated fairly. From harsh criticism to questionable officiating, she deserves far more respect for everything she's done.
You guys were right. That's what we're saying. You
No,
were right.
Molly, you did not say that, Molly. No,
saying
no,
it.
That is
no.
what you said.
You
That
did
is
not.
what you
That's
said.
not what you said, Molly.
What are you guys
That is not what.
Even though Clark is out of the playoffs now, fans are already waiting for her return. The buzz for next season is building fast, and everyone knows her comeback will spike ratings again. Her return isn't just big for fans. It's crucial for the league's future. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark back in action.
To me, that's not dominating.
Is on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie, targeted by society, targeted by her looks, targeted by her reputation.